Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to have a very interesting discussion with Mickey and Mitch. The topic of today is the third part of society. And one of the questions that we're going to address with Mitch and Mickey is very simple but very profound also. It is, does success compensate for value or morality? That's one question. Seems pretty obvious that the answer is no. Morality is above all. However, in reality, that doesn't always happen. So the basic question continues, and it is, why do we choose something over morality, or why does success always prevail in some people above anything? Well, this is a question that I'm going to be asking Mickey and Mitch shortly. But first of all, let's find out some definitions of the purpose of humankind. For example, what makes us human, and what is our purpose in life other than of that of propagating our species? Well, let's see what Mr. Google says about the purpose of life. According to him, the purpose of life is to live and let live. The societal living is possible when there are communal harmony and feeling of brotherhood among its members, and the institutions of family and marriage contribute to the harmonious living in a society. Peaceful coexistence is the key to a successful life. Well, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to discuss it with Mitch and Mickey and see what they think. They have always very interesting and very smart comments. And I'm going to share that information with Mickey and with Mitch and get their point of view. And then here is Mickey. And I'm going to welcome Mickey. Mickey, hello, good
Teacher,
afternoon.
how are
How are
you?
you today?
Good afternoon. I'm great, thank you much. And you?
And there's many. Well, when am I going to start the class? And then I says, well, but how can I start if I am asleep taking a nap, right?
Hmm. Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
How
Don't
was your
worry,
day,
don't worry.
Mickey?
What's good, teacher? Well, today I
You
just
had
went
a
to the
good day?
school and then, yeah, and then I came to my house. I ate something and now I'm here in the class. Huh.
Fantastic. Today's topic is quite interesting, Mickey. We have the three remaining questions of the topic of society that we had started last week. And one of the first questions is a pretty strong one, which is, does success compensate for value or morality? Um, what do you think about that question? Do you think it compensates or it doesn't compensate? Is success at any cost valuable at any rate, at any cost? Is it good to succeed at any cost, even if you uh, step on people, step on values, step on situations, or there are some exceptions? What do you think about this question, Mickey?
Mm, well, first of all, I think that it's necessary to define what is success because I think that every person is going to have a different definition or meaning of that word.
I totally agree with you. First, let's define the word success. What is in your mind success, Mickey?
Mm, well, success in life for me is like uh, probably working uh, on something that really matters for you, or yeah, or doing something that makes you happy, and probably you can live off that activity of or something related to that.
Okay. Okay. So, which are the limits of success? In other words, uh, Is it possible to be successful without harming or hurting other person's property values, ideas, sense of respect, private space, etc.? Is it possible to be successful and not interfere with other person's ambitions, desires, goals, dignity? Do you think it is possible that you work on something that really matters? Do something that makes you happy, which, by the way, is a very beautiful definition. I very much like this definition. It's not a very common one, though. Not many people think like this. For many of my students, for many other people, success is simply making a lot of money,
Yeah,
and they think that that's an example of success. But your definition is very different. Why is it so different to the standard definition of success, Mickey? What do you think this definition is more precise, more exact, and at the end, more real?
um, well, for me, obviously, money it's important too. I'm not telling that money it isn't important, but I know I read of cases of people when they have everything, they have money, they have all the luxuries that they imagined, and they were not happy. So I think that if you do something that makes you happy for the rest of your life, probably, I don't know, play music or going to the forest, going to the beach, activities that help you to feel better in general. I would say that that is success because not everything, yeah, you can't buy everything just with money.
Absolutely true. Absolutely agree. This Sunday, Mickey, I just had lunch with an uncle. He's a very nice person, a very reasonable, very smart person. And he was telling me that on Saturdays they get together to play dominoes. And in these sessions of dominoes, there are widows and widowers. And one of the widows is a lady that had absolutely everything. She had a husband who was wealthy. The man was reasonably young, not extremely young, but reasonably young. He was very uh, successful, if you will. Let me welcome Mitch.
Yes, sure.
Mitch, hello, how are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm pretty good, thank you. And you?
Fantastic, thank you very much. I was chatting with Mickey about the meaning of success, and he came up with a very good definition. Uh, Unusual, if you permit me to say that, because I was telling Mickey that unlike him, for other kids, for other young people, the definition of success is having a lot of money. And I was about to tell him that this Saturday I had lunch with an uncle, and he narrated a story in which a widow, that was a female widow, had a husband with a lot of money. They were in their 60s, late 60s, early 70s, and they had plenty of money, very good, high social status. He was a very acclaimed professional. Apparently, he had everything. And he just committed suicide a couple of months ago. And the widow, very sad, obviously depressed, couldn't understand what the man could have been missing. If he had plenty of money, he had a good job, he was a famous professional, he had everything, and he committed suicide. Why? Well, they don't understand. And that precisely reinforces Mickey's theory that money is not everything. Yeah, money is important, but it does not provide for a happy life all the time. I mean, many times
Yes.
it does. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
If I have money, I can go to the beach. I can go to Cuba, Germany, France, the U.S., and I can spend on clothes, good food, good company, this and that. Right? But in
Yes.
reality, what do you think, Mitch?
I think the in the money. in this case, can give us happiness, but it's a temporal happiness. The truth happiness is, well, everyone can feel the happiness in different ways, but more than the 95% of the world, it's not of material things. Yeah, the material things can bring us joy for some time, but the truth is well, the emotions, the feeling, the how, if we are with the correct persons in our life, if we are doing something that we really enjoy, and we are enjoying our things, not necessarily with a lot of money. I think if we are talking about success in life, considering that the life is pretty short, it's like you're enjoying your time, you are happy with the things that you are doing. You are not have to have all the money in the world, just the things that you, if you like it, what are you doing, and you're happy with it, I think that's the real success in
Well,
life.
that's another great definition. I like it very much too. And that responds a question that I made originally that asks, does success compensate for value of morality? Now, let me ask you a more intense question, Mickey and Mitch. Have you seen people who doesn't follow this rule? In other words, who looks for success with their own definition, maybe having all kinds of money, above any kind of thing, about any limits, any rules, regulations that say, well, money at any cost. Have you seen cases like this? TV, maybe a story that one friend narrated, maybe there are cases in which we read in the newspapers. Do you know any cases like that?
So many.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Mm,
start the
some
gossip.
ideas. Hmm.
Well, most of these cases usually appear in the news. Oh, that person do this because of that and that, and he killed this person for money, and she blamed then an innocent for money. They pay to the judge to lock this person in jail, even if they're innocent. Things like that. It happens a lot. Also in the famous world, in the companies, in the laws, in the law stuff. Happens very much.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. What do you say? Thank you, Mitch. What do you say, Mickey? Agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. I heard of different cases where people lost their dignity just to uh, get money. Mm, for example, now it's so common that women sells pictures of them on the internet, and obviously it's just to get money. No, what will be the other another purpose? And actually, well, personally for me, it's something um, that I don't know, that I don't approve of, or how can I say this? That I
I
don't
don't
approve.
approve of. Yeah, I don't approve of. Yeah,
But well,
okay.
yeah, there are so many cases.
Okay, that's true. That's totally true. Disapprove or I don't approve. I don't approve. That's true. So, if there are many cases in which people become wealthy or rich, they climb above people or they crawl at any rate, at any cost. They don't have any, I don't want to use the word, but I don't find a better one, decency. And then at the end, they are not happy. How can we learn the lesson? Obviously, people who have very good values, people who have good teachers, good tutors, good parents who taught them the right principles, they learn fast, they learn the easy way, they learn at home, right? So it's easy for you because you and myself, my people, my friends, people that we have friends we have in common, we all follow a common good morality, right? We put decency above everything else, but not everyone is like that. So why other people don't learn the lesson, or why do they prefer to take the hard way to learn a hard lesson? Why is that? Who wants to respond to this question?
I think I don't got the question pretty much.
Yes, movies, television, the series glamorize crime, glamorize abuse, glamorize TV. I think this is a personal opinion, of course, but I'm pretty much convinced that TV glamorizes um, many activities that we don't approve of, right? They glamorize many things that nor Mickey, nor you, nor myself, nor our people, nor our family will approve. But TV makes it look like fun, like funny, like not dangerous. Among them, let's go. How many crime series are there? Lots of series make look crime, drugs, uh, and many other things look easy, fun, not dangerous, and really not lacking morality, right? And I think TV is very much to blame for many of the problems that happen in society now, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with this, Mickey or Mitch.
Yes, sure.
TV is at fault for many of the social problems that there are currently in society. Why? Because they may look things, that's okay. Well, nothing happens with that. Well, that's funny, right? But in reality, those are serious things, and TV makes it look like if it's nothing serious, something funny, something. And I give you thousands of examples. What do you think of this concept, Mitch?
Mm, yes. Also, not just the TV. Well, the TV started that, but now the social media also do that. Well, with all the advertisement, things like that. There are really people very manipulable. Um, I don't know, maybe for feel like this feeling of how can I say? I forgot the word.
Feeling of belonging.
Ah, the feeling of hurt, of belonging. Uh, they try to follow some everything that is in trend, and if everyone is doing that, why I don't going to do that? I'm for them. I'm accepted. I am accepted in this area. I thought this was wrong, but if TV or the social media said that this is okay, then it's okay.
That's a very smart comment. Very smart comment, and I respect it very much, particularly because you're so young, and that is very true. And it's
Yes.
unfortunate that many people, even adults, say, "Well, that's bad, but if I will be accepted, I'll just go ahead and do it,
Uh-huh.
regardless."
People that really think that they are correct, that they are not conscious that that is bad, they in some way think ending to think that that is really okay. They don't got any opinions from other sector. Just their opinion is okay, and that's it. And well, it's a fight of never ending. Is that
Okay,
discussion? Mhm.
that's true. That's very true. Well, the problem we could say, well, that is the problem. Unfortunately, the problem doesn't end there, right? Because then the kids start crossing the red lights. They start pulling out guns for the least because you honk or because you look them because they cross the street and they provoke you, they become very bravado, right? So it really affects us. It's not that, well, that is their problem. It does not affect anyone else. No, that affects the society. So it is like partially our responsibility to try to fix that because we live in the same society, or emigrate like many people do, right? Well, all my brothers and my daughter to begin with. So can we do something about that, Mickey? What could it be? Maybe not necessarily starting with us, but can we? What can we do? Should we do something?
um, I think it is necessary to educate our people, because I think that people seems normal those things because they don't have enough education, or they don't have enough what's this word, they don't have enough maturity will be.
Maturity, yeah, that's a word.
Yeah, and yeah, first of all, I think that is necessary to have education and maturity to see the different types of programs, or the different types of series, and I think that when you are more mature, it's easier to determine if something is real, or if something is just fiction, or if something is just another gossip.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I when I was a kid, I never thought that censorship was a good idea.
What?
Censorship, censorship, censura. But now I think the more I become old, and the more I think about this, I think that the government, TV, broadcasting companies, there must be some type of censorship for certain type of kids or people. For example, we should ban certain foods in schools. We've talked about that a number of times. We also should prohibit certain programs to kids. So, but then you say, people say, but oh, censorship, censorship, that's dangerous. We're becoming an intolerant society, an intolerant country. What do you think about this word, censorship? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it too exaggerated? There should be limits to that. What do you think about that?
Hmm.
Or should be open channels for everyone, regardless of their age and education?
Depends.
On,
Uh,
on what?
depends of the meaning of the way of think of each sector, country, people. Because there could be it is a censorship that is accepted. Okay, you cannot see this thing because it's content plus 18, or it's something like gore, or the blood includes death. But what is about the with Disney censorship things, homosexual stuff, just because Russia don't like it, and I think that that's exaggerated, or I don't know, maybe a censorship a symbol because it's a religion that you don't like it. Exist exists that why you're I think if I see a symbol, that's not gonna affect me in any way. um I mean that depends.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I will give an explanation about that as well. But it coincides drastically in what you say, Mitch. Thank you very much. Let me listen to Mickey first, please. Mickey, what do you think about censorship?
Yeah, like Mich, I think that it depends on the program, because there are programs that obviously they're not for all public. So I think that it's necessary to have like restrictions in some programs, but in other programs, um, probably it's not like a complete censorship, but like a different version of the program. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, not explicit. because obviously those programs must appear in channels from, well, channels to adults people. But obviously we know that now in the actuality, all kids have a cell phone or all kids have a tablet, and now it's easier to access to those programs. So yeah, I think that is necessary, but just on some programs, not on all of them.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And also depending on the age, right? It's not the
Yeah.
same type of prohibition to a kid that is 5, 6, 7, 8 years old to a young adult that is 18, 19, 20, 21, 23 years old, right? Is different maturity.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the same as you should, where schools should prohibit junk food. Parents should prohibit certain programs for kids. Certain programs, they are extremely violent, but extremely violent. Shooting, killing, like Mitch said, blood, right and left. Um, and I'm not saying that some topics are bad for kids to learn sooner or later, right? Because but this probably is not the time for
Mm-hmm.
them to learn them. Yes, there should be, for example, I remember that my daughter Sophie, when she was 7 years old, one of her aunts gave her a lipstick and gave it a miniskirt and gave her this blush and things to put that women, when they are youngsters, when they are adolescents,
More than
young
15.
adults, put on exactly, but not when you're
Mm-hmm.
7 years old. And I said, well, look, okay, that looks nice for a moment, but it's not going to be something that she's going to do every day. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, of course. And I got really upset. I said, well, listen, you educate your children, I educate mine. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And period. And I asked my daughter to remove the lipstick and the blush and this and that because it's not bad, but it's not her time.
That's the time. Mm-hmm.
It's not the time. Simply, she's a girl. She should be doing things that girls do, which is
Mm-hmm.
play with dolls, play with dirt, with marbles, whatever, right? Fluffy teddy bears, etc.
Yeah.
So I think there should be a time for everything. What do you think, Mitch?
Absolutely. It's something that I will always said, and I really get mad when I see girl kids that dress with outfits that usually grown women tend to use, like little skirts or uh, blouse pretty with showing a lot, or this I forgot how the word yes tights pretty like I forgot how to say red grit tight red grits.
Yes, yes.
Or also I see some videos that there are like in this aesthetic that they try to make up the girls a lot of makeup, and they appear if the kid before appeared like and they 8 years old with that makeup appears like to have 17. I
Yes.
and in the current times it's that a very polemic subject, because like for the social media also we could discover more pedophiles in the media, because before to not have so many communication they could hide pretty good, but now with this we realize that it is a lot of pedophiles, and that's really worrying. And doing this I think it's pretty preocupante.
Wearing,
Uh-huh,
wearing.
worrying, and I hate it very much. And was this just an example, but it happens with a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Mitch, for the comment. Mickey, what do you say about what Mitch just said? Do you agree? And also the question of To what degree should we establish the censorship? When should we establish? Should it be very strict, lenient? In what topics? Not only food or TV, but what else should we censor? Um,
Um, well, I think that is not like a simple question. It sounds simple, but at the end, I think that there is more complex that I expected. I think that it's necessary to to give censorship in programs that are not for kids, or that programs that are so mm, what's this word? So can I use the word raw?
okay, yeah.
Yeah. That there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of sexual content, um, and a part of that, I think that is necessary to establish a censorship, like you say, depending of the age, because at the end, probably it's not. If it's a kid of 5 years and he's looking to those programs, or he's looking or hearing people uh, that are, I don't know, 20 or 25 years old than him or than her, I think that that's the issue, because those talks that people that is older than kids could share, like their point of view, or like their opinion of things, and and the issue is that they don't have the maturity to determine if it is correct, or to have their own opinion, so they could be influenced so easily. And I think that that's the big issue. So depending of the age and depending of the context, but I think that is necessary to have a censorship, because
Yeah.
now in reality, yeah,
No, 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 continue, Mickey. Sorry.
yeah, now in the actuality there are a lot of things that we seem like normal, but that are extremely uh, crude, they're extremely bad, and until for me, I saw programs and I was like, oh my god, how is possible that's now is on TV, and it's at 7 p.m. and it is not too late, and there are those kind of programs.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very good comment. And I think you introduce implicitly, because you didn't say the word explicitly, but I think you imply that kids and youngsters become vulnerable. Even if you didn't mention the word, it was implied in the content of what you said, and I fully agree with this. They get confused, they don't have the maturity, and consequently they become weak and can become the target of many things, right? They can become the target of evil people who can persuade them from doing something bad or dissuade them from doing something good.
Mm-hmm.
So they become vulnerable, and that is extremely dangerous for a kid when
Mm-hmm.
they become are at the mercy of merchants or at the mercy of immoral people, and that's extremely dangerous, and we don't see it. That's Kira.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
She's so sweet. Well, that leads us to our next question. Thank you very much for your comments, and the question is number 9. Mitch, could you read it, please? Question number 9.
Yes. What makes us human, and what is our purpose in life, other than that of propagating our species? Okay.
Yeah, what is the purpose as people, as humans? What do we want to do on earth in general, of course?
Uh, I think I heard of it that the only reason to be here, I don't know. I think that's something that we never going to know in essence. But okay, in the biological way is reproduction. But more than that, I think that question is the one who there's never there's not have an answer. Maybe we find our own purpose, But in
Yes.
essence, as a beings, we're. I think that's something we are never going to know.
Yeah, it's a complex question, right? What's the purpose of humankind? Why are we here?
Hmm.
Yeah, well, what do you think, Mickey? And I will show you not my opinion because it's not my opinion. I'll show you what Mr. Google says about that. And I found an interesting definition. Let me see if I have it here. I think, well, yeah, I found it. But let's hear to Mickey first, please. What's our purpose in
Mm,
life?
well, I think that I want to believe in the idea that all people has a purpose in this life. So I think that it's necessary to search your purpose and try to follow a purpose. Or if that is your purpose, well, uh, find your real purpose. And at the end, I think that it's necessary to I don't know, leave the earth better uh, than when you came here. Or I don't know if it's I don't know if I said it correctly.
Leave
Yeah.
a better earth than how we found it,
Mm-hmm.
more or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a very nice definition. I like both of them. Let's see what I read here. The purpose of humankind, and there are many definitions, of course, but let's read this. Who wants to read it, please?
Me?
Me. Okay.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Mm, the purpose of life is to live and let live. The social living is possible when there are communal harmony and feeling of brotherhood among its members. The institutions of family and marriage contribute to the harmonious living in a society. Peaceful coexistence is the key to a successful life.
What do you think of this?
Well, yeah, it's something that in essential, even among in the society, it is that. But what about if the human at the start of the ages never creates something like a society? But I like this definition. It is a lot of definitions, and I think we can get agreed that everyone founds their own purpose in their way.
Yeah. Do you mean by that, Mitch? And I, do you mean that purpose is something very intimate, very personal? And
Hmm.
what do you think?
Yes. Now it depends of each person.
Okay. So, yeah, what do you think about the purpose, Mickey? Do you think that is something that people normally share? My plan in life is this, my plans in life are those, or is something that we normally keep to ourselves, or you share it with just a pool of people, a number of people?
Hmm, well, I would say that probably my purpose is not the same purpose than you. So I think that every person has their own purpose. But the definition that we found in on internet is good too, because at the end we share our lives with other people, and I think that it's necessary to know how to live in a harmonious way.
Yes. One phrase calls my attention here, and that is peaceful coexistence is the key to a successful life. What do you think of this idea of peaceful coexistence, Mitch?
Peaceful coexistence.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I always wish with something like that in every way. It is we as a humans coexist peacefully with the flora fauna in this case, with the ecosystems, with everything. in peace. We don't have to harm other species to live. That's something that I always wish, but it's very difficult for because this world unfortunately move with the money.
Uh, well, okay. Thank you, Mitch. What do you think about this definition, Mickey? Peaceful coexistence. Is it possible? Is it real? And if there is enough of everything for everyone, why do we become so greedy, or why do we want to have all the marbles for me, and I don't want to share one or two marbles to the other people? I want them all the marbles for me. And if the other two, three kids don't have a marble, well, that's their problem. Why does that happen?
Hmm. First of all, I need to know if I know correctly what is uh, peaceful coexistence. I think that peaceful coexistence is uh, well, it makes like a reference to the relations that we need to keep in the future or to keep in, you know.
Hmm.
Mm, well, yeah, I think that it's unnecessary because um, if we look back to the history of the humanity, well, we know that we made a lot of wars, we made a lot of confrontations between between people. So I think that it's necessary to know how to live uh, with the different people, because obviously there will be people who thinks different to us and who wants to, well, to um, well, yeah, in conclusion, that who thinks in a different way, and probably that could make a confrontation or or something worse. And I think that it's necessary to know how to live in a peaceful way.
Right. I have an interesting question, and it is that if animals fight for food, territory, and a mate, uh, and they can still survive, why not seeing the fights as something normal in human beings? Okay, what do you think of this question? You may think, I don't know if you were gonna think or not, that this is a very brutal question. I'm not saying that people should fight, but reality
Mhm.
shows that we fight all the time. So I'm not saying that it is good. I'm not ascribing a moral value to this. I'm just saying that animals fight for food, territory, and a mate or companionship, or however you want to call it, and mating.
Okay.
Let's call. Why
Uh,
then men cannot fight for the same? Yes, Mitch.
I think I can respond the question. Well,
Yes, please.
as everyone know, we were animals. We can consider us because we are organic beings, animals. But I think with our evolution and the creation with the civilization, we lost. Well, we those animal sense are not necessary to this way of we are living right now. We are living in a civilization with collaboration with everyone. We don't have to fight to have like a corner of the school. We don't have to fight for a food if we can just buy them. Uh, of course, if you don't have any money, you can act like an animal anyway. But we don't need those animal senses anymore. Of course, we can still feel. some things in some situations, but we, as a revolution, I think we already over. Uh, how can I say superamos?
Or superados in what sense?
Mm, superamos esa fase.
We overcame that
Uh,
phase.
exactly.
Um, okay, I have my questions about that, Mitch, but I will ask them in a moment because you introduce a lot of very interesting words. You introduce you introduce a word that I like very much, but I have many questions about it. You said
Okay.
collaboration, and you also said civilization, and I'm going to praise. I'm going to say that is a very convenient, a very good word, but it's also a bit intrepid in some senses. Let me explain myself.
Oh, of course.
We claim to be very civilized, and yes, many people are very civilized, but not everyone, and not always. And even the countries that claim to be the masters of democracy and freedom, they have been invading countries right and left, and I don't need to say which ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we say we're a very civilized world, and look at our developed, look at our most developed nations in terms of democracy, technology, and civilization, and they are the ones invading other nations. So that's why I say this in quotation marks. If
Oh,
you
but you put, why not saying the fights as something normal in human beings? For example, these things of the Russia and Ukraine, it's not good. It's not good saying. It's like everyone one piece, but they are doing what they are doing. The reasons going to mostly selfish, but it's not something good saying. It's not normal. It's not something that everyone could like. Um, we as a humans don't need to fight to want some of one's things, but of course there are exceptions that going to do anything to want what they want, even if broke all the morals that we construct in the civilizations. It's not good saying it happens, but well, it's not good saying. That's the point.
Yeah, but okay, let me give you an example, Mitch. There is a nice kid, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, Mickey or Mitch, but you tell me. I'm gonna give you a simple example. There is this kid. This is a young kid, very smart, good-looking kid, and there are two girls that like him. And we can change the genders. Don't make me wrong. You can just change the gender, right, and do exactly the same. And they want to fight to fists. Yes, no, they will not take the globes and go to the ring. They will not do that. But the two girls that like him, right, they are going to fight in a civilized way, if you allow me to say that, right? Let me just make some skirts here to distinguish that they are girls. Well, I'm drawing very uglily, but let me it's something quick. These two are girls, right? These are girls. That's the skirt. Of course, it's very ugly, but well, let me do something faster. These are girls, and this is a boy. And you can change the genders, boy, right? And so this girl is making eyes to the boy, right? And the other girl is doing the same. And they see that at one point they see each other as rivals. Do you think they're gonna go to a coffee shop and say, "Hey, let's discuss this as in a friendly manner"? I
No,
think. What do you think? Do you think that's gonna happen?
no, I think if they like that boy, they in some way, maybe not fight in the physical way, it could happen. Maybe with indirects in the social media or
Yeah.
telling gossip about the other to the others. Well, this is it happens, but I go into the same thing. Um, it's something not good saying. It's not something. The fights, it's not something normalized to approve in civilization. Of course, uh, everyone still have the animal senses of want something. Like, I think in this example of the boys and the girls is like something of my property or my territory that some animals do. But to live in this civilization, we don't need these animal senses. Of course, if you are in danger or you could need them, but usually it's not necessary. It's not good saying, but it happens. I'm never going to deny that it happens, but it's not something good saying. No, if
Well,
I
I could change the genders too. I could say girl and two boys, and it's going to be exactly the same. What do you think, Mickey? Do you think this diagram is more or less common? I think it's very, very common that two
Hmm.
girls like one boy or two boys like one girl, and they will not discuss the issue friendly. Hey, Mike, you see Lupita? Yeah. What do you think? Oh, I like her very much. And you? No, I also like her very much. Well, we need to resolve this in a very civilized manner. What do you propose? Well, let's go for a cup of coffee. Yeah. What is the best strategy to approach the girl? I'm being sarcastic, Mickey, and I'm exaggerating the point to make the
Yeah, yeah.
point.
Hmm.
They're
Oh,
gonna,
no.
I don't know what's gonna happen there, but and I've seen this. Look, I'm 56. I've seen this a number of times. What do you think of this, Mickey Mitch?
Yeah, I think that is something so common, and I think that doesn't matter the age of the person, of the maturity, because I've seen cases where people of my age fight for a boy or fight for a girl. Normally, boys fight for a girl. I've seen in so many parties that I went when I was in my high school, and but then there was a long time ago that I went to how do you say poof or
Right. Yeah.
yeah poof,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and there were old people fighting for a girl, and it was like, oh my god, we haven't learned, because they're the same problem, and that's why I agree with the definition that you share with us, that we need to know how to live in a peaceful coexistence. There must be a moment where people could solve all those problems just talking, or like you say, going for a cup of coffee. I don't know. I hope so. And if it happens, I hope to see it, to have life to see it. But
Yeah,
well,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And not only about boys and girls, also there must be a very good job, right? And two people compete for the job or for the race or for the
mhm,
project
yeah.
or basically for almost everything. Um, and it's normally not in a very friendly way, in a very civilized way. Yes, what Mitch says, I fully agree. Civilization, collaboration, that we are evolved. We have gone through a civilization because we claim to be civilized, but to what extent? To what extent? Or maybe we simply should admit we simply should admit that we are not very different from from animals. What do you think? Maybe we claim to be different from animals because we say, well, we're very civilized, but in reality, we still fight for everything. And maybe that's not something bad. Maybe that is our true nature. We say that we are civilized, but in reality, we fight for everything. Can it be, or you claim that that is not true, that we have overcome that and that we're in a more, in a superior stage? What do you think?
we can overcame that senses that nature to analyze the thing. I think and this thing applies the think before act, but the human nature is act, and it's act, and then the reflection of what you did.
Yes,
But
yes,
yes, it's like grow as a person in little steps. But the human nature is that fight for everything. Not everything is bad. Could be fights very friendly or not harmful, but yes, it is that our human nature.
okay. Well, I don't know if human nature is such that we don't have to give up our true nature. We have our true nature, and we don't have to change it just because somebody says that we have to. But sometimes I think that sometimes, occasionally, at times, we are not very different from animals, and including myself. Sometimes we feel this urge, this rage, this apprehension, this anxiety, this fear, and these emotions, which are part of, as Mitch says, fauna. And how much are we still part of this fauna? I don't know if we are very different. What do you think about that, Mickey? Do you think we're very different from this or not?
Mm, well, there are cases uh, where I've been thinking that people actually is more savage than animals, because I know stories and I know about cases of things that humans did, and those things uh, are hard to believe in few words, you know.
Yes,
I'm in group on different groups on Facebook of like rescuing animals and those kind of things, and
yes,
there are cases where, oh my god, so people just throwing animals in a bag and putting in the trash and things like, oh my god, I would say that probably dogs or cats wouldn't do that, you know, and humans did. Not all the humans, obviously not, but there are cases where humans are not completely human to. Well, I don't know how to say it, but yeah.
okay, very interesting. Well, I'm going to start a seminar in the University of Aguascalientes, so I need to go. I'm going to be short
Yes,
3 minutes. Sorry about that, but
don't worry,
good
sir.
conversation as usual. Mitch, Mickey, thank you very much for your input. Very interesting, really. And it's a lot of fun to have these interesting topics discussed with smart people. So, Mitch, Mickey, see you Wednesday, God willing, okay?
Mhm.
Yes, teacher. Thank you very much. Take
Take
care.
care.
Yeah,
Have a
teacher.
wonderful
Thank you so
afternoon.
much.
See you. Thank you.
You
Take
too.
care.
Thank you very
Goodbye.
much.
Bye bye bye.
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 Take
Enjoy.
care.
Take care.
You
Bye
too.
bye.